Hello everyone, welcome to my King Ghidorah tutorial. I'm your host, Overlord21, and I will talk about this dude's kicks, his punches, his kicks, his fierce attacks, his flying, his beam attacks, and also his grabs as well. Let's get started with the punches. We have his basic jab string. Now, the interesting thing to note about his punches compared to everyone else is that there's a third hit, representative of his third hit, and a strong final hit on his where both his heads go boom. Good damage. It's not the greatest move in the universe, but I don't mind this string. It's very interesting because it's just his heads attacking. But yeah, solid move. Nothing too wrong with his jabs there. Not the greatest, but far from bad. Let's talk about a move of his I use a lot. We have forward punch. This move is pretty good because it's his combo extension. He does it from a ridiculous range. It's got good range, and you can also use it to scoop up opponents if they hit down like from a hop or anything of that sort. It's not great on block. It has issues on block. That makes it, it's vulnerable on block, basically. See, Gigan can still attack me, even though I hit him with the move. So be careful about using on block, but it's a good combo extension. You'll see me use it a lot for combos and spacing and that sort of thing. You'll see it for that a lot. We also have his back punch, which his head slammed down onto the ground. It's one of his OTG options. You'll definitely want to use it for that. And it can also hit opponents above as well. So it's very nice for that. Very nice for that as well. Again, like a lot of his other moves, not particularly amazing on block. Be careful about that. It's a solid move. It's definitely better on him than his mechanical doppelganger, because his mechanical doppelganger's hitbox is weird on that one. But I'll talk about it whenever we get to that character specifically. We also have down punch. That's his launcher. Well, one of his launchers. He has another one that's a launcher, but that's his blunt launcher. It's a solid move because it does a fair amount of damage. Also has good range. And it's just a button I really like using in general. Oh, we'll just go ahead and talk about Rage while we're here. This is his Rage attack. Solid damage, especially if you can get all three of the beam hits off. Not the best Rage attack in the universe, but far from the worst. It's got good application. I quite like using it, just simply because it hits hard, and if your opponent tries to walk around it, if they don't know what they're doing, they'll still get hit by it. Yeah, overall, this dude's punches, I like him. He's got good solid punches, he's got good range, good damage. They're not great on block, but that's okay. That's okay, because he has plenty of excellent tools to deal with blocks, so you'll definitely see me use several of the options to deal with block. Now let's talk about his kicks. We have his standard kick. Got good spacing, it's a solid option. It's really useful versus Megalon because it comes out fast and Megalon just gets knocked out by it consistently and constantly. It's a very good anti-Megalon tool. It's okay versus everyone else. Just be careful about using it on characters like himself and Orga, because those two will just resist it and punish you for using the move. It's a solid option. And then that was up kicked. We'll get up kick back up in just a moment. We also have back kick. This is a move you'll see me use a lot because the spacing's on it's good. It retracts backwards. Again, good damage. You'll kind of notice a theme with this character is that his damage is pretty good. Very good damage. He's a very scary fella on that front. You can also use it for like catching your opponent out if they're like hopping or anything of that sort. Or just attacking with a bad move. which that's just kind of Geigen in general. Anyway, that'll be it from that one. We also have down kick, traditional toe stub move. It's an enabler of one of his best combos. You'll definitely want if your opponent uses a really laggy move. Let me see if I can hit him with the toe stub, and then you can launch him with that and do that nonsense, and Geigen's basically dead. I'm a big fan of down kick. Not because its hitbox is amazing or anything, but because I like toe stub moves in general. Toe stub moves in general are very busted in this game, so you'll definitely want to make use of those. And for his final kick, because he doesn't have a forward kick, and he also doesn't have an up punch, we have up kick, which he flies up the air, slams onto the ground. It's an OTG move as well, on top of, slamming your opponent to the ground. Definitely make use of it, because its damage is pretty good. Definitely make use of it, for sure. But be careful about using up kick, because your opponent can block it, and whenever they're on the ground, if they see it coming, they can get up attack. Here, let me see if I can knock Geigen to the ground. See? Like that. So be careful about using it too much, because your opponent can counter it. I like his kicks as well. He doesn't really have a bad kick. I'd say his worst kick is probably back kick, but that's just simply because the other two are more useful, I find, in general, rather than that one, but it's not a bad move. Can't really go wrong with his moves there. Now we have his fierce buttons. His tail attacks are okay, nothing exceptional. At least his standard ones are probably some of his more underwhelming buttons. Oh, that was interesting. Okay. that was new to me. Yeah. I wouldn't really recommend using his standard X move. It's just not great. Its range is pathetic, its damage is pathetic. And you got so many other better options that there's just no real point using it. Okay, now let's talk about a button of his that I use a lot. We have Down Fierce. This is his combo starter. And it's a good one, too. A really good one. Because he can get some nasty combos off of that. I was gonna try to get this guy out of the rock. Yeah, we'll just get these rocks out of the way. We'll just knock them out of the way. Get down, buddy. There we go. But yeah, while we're here, I'm just gonna mention this real quick. Down Fierce is definitely one of his best moves, just because it's a low, it's a launcher, so even against mechas, it's still useful because it toe stubs them. And while its range isn't amazing, as you can see here, it can actually catch your opponent even when he's behind him. Like this. Oh. Maybe not. Okay, it definitely does to the side, though. Yeah, it does to the sides, but not directly behind, so that's good to know. I quite like the move. It's one of my go-tos for him. This is a big enabler for his combos, and just huge damage overall. Let's talk about his back fierce. This is a surprisingly fast option, and also has good range as well. That turns your opponent around, that turns you around and gets your opponent off of you very quickly. It also leads up to one of his unique traits that he has as a character, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. But let's talk about another one of my favorite buttons of his. We have Up Fierce. It's his Wind Gust. It's an unblockable move that sends your opponent back a fair distance. And by the way, this also works on the ground as well. So if your opponent's lying prone on the ground, here, let me see if I could just do this. Geigen presses his get up attack. I could still knock him out of his get up attack using Up Fierce. It is a very strong button. If your opponent's blocking a lot, or you're dealing with someone like Anguirus or that sort of thing, feel free to use Up Fierce. Very good button. Definitely something I would recommend using with the character. It's just a very ridiculous button. Good range. The damage on it isn't amazing, but the fact that it's unblockable and pushes your opponent back so far works really well with how King Ghidorah plays. It's just such a good button. And for his last button, we have Forward Fierce. A tail launcher, kinda like Down Fierce, but significantly slower. I do use it a couple of times in some of my combos. Like, particularly it's useful during the rage ones, because your opponent gets sent high, really high in the air, and you can hit this afterwards for massive damage. Really good against Rodan. If you ever seen my videos where I fight Rodan with Ghidorah, you know that's one of the combos I like doing. But yeah, I like his Fierce buttons. The only one I don't really like is his standard one. And one more thing that's unique about that involves his tail. If you press the grab button while your opponent's behind you, it gets a unique tail throw that does a lot of damage for some reason. It's definitely good. Be careful though, because your opponent can jump it. Let's see. See? It's definitely good if your opponent's behind you and they're using a move that has a decent amount of startup, and you can just hit them with a grab. It knocks them into barrier, and then you can either combo them or hit them on the ground with some other move afterwards. Now let's talk about... Oh yeah, let's talk about this before I forget. Dash Punch. Solid move. Nothing amazing, but it's another blunt option. It's useful for that, at least. Now let's talk about his beam attacks. This is something that is a very good trait on both Ghidorahs. The damage on this beam is very high, as you can see. It literally just annihilated Ghidorah. Let's see how much it does just flat out. Yep. Yep. Of course it does. But to compensate for this, he doesn't have a quick beam option. Like, he doesn't have any tap beams. See? He doesn't have any tap beams. Unlike what Gigan has. Yeah, you saw it earlier. So, he does have a tap up function. Yeah, King Ghidorah doesn't have one. His block's pretty good too. I thought I mentioned that. His block's pretty nice. Now let's talk about his jumping abilities, because that's another important thing about this character. He flies! Those wings aren't just for show. They're to fly. Now we have Jump Punch, which is probably his most underwhelming button out of the bunch. But still useful, because you can use that like the end of combos, or after you knock your opponent out of block using Flying Fierce. It's okay. I would probably say it's his worst jump attack, just simply because the other two are just a lot stronger. Not a bad move, but you only really use it against characters that are weak to edge or aren't edge resistant, because edge resistant characters do not care about that move at all. Now let's talk about his Flying Kick. This move is pretty good. It does good damage and knocks your opponent straight down into the ground. And afterwards, you could basically just set up whatever you want on OTG, whether it be up fierce, down kick, back punch. Any of that stuff really works. It's not safe on block though, so be careful about that. So if your opponent's blocking it, if your opponent blocks the jump attack, they could just hit you with a move afterwards, so be careful about that. Just keep that in mind. And let's talk about his two other fierce flying moves that are ridiculous. We have Flying Fierce, which if you saw Up Fierce earlier, it's the exact same situation here as it is for Flying Fierce, except it uses up a lot of energy. It does use a lot of energy, but it's an excellent anti-air tool. It does great damage. Well, it does decent damage. It doesn't do as much damage as his Flying Beam does. But it's a good move. It's definitely one of my go-tos, because it also works on OTG as well, and complements his zoning playstyle very well. This dude is just really good at keeping opponents off of him. Now let's talk about his coup de grace. We have Flying Beam. Yep. Oh, you know what's even better about this character? The Flying Beam at a certain range can actually toe stub your opponents. So this animation you see right here, his beam is entirely capable of doing that if the range is good. It is such a ridiculous button. It's easily one of the best beam weapons in the game. Like, the only reason you never see me use standard beam is because I find Flying Beam to be such a better button that's just insane. It beats just about everything. Like, Destroyer can do some stuff to it. I'm trying to think who else. Like, Mecha King Ghidorah can block it with his shield, but even then that can be a struggle just simply because of how good the knockback is on the move. It is ridiculous. And it's one of King Ghidorah's best features by far. Nothing else compares to that Flying Beam. Even his cybernetic doppelganger beam isn't as strong on the knockback department as this thing is. It's ridiculous. Definitely a good reason for him to be top 3 material. Now let's talk about his grab. Pretty solid grab, it's got good range. That's his normal throw. Just like every other normal throw. Nothing exceptional or spectacular, but the distance it throws is pretty good. Now the throw you'll see me use a lot is his kick throw. Because it sends your opponent flying a fair distance, it does solid damage in of itself, and it also looks cool. I like how it looks. It looks cool, and you can just set up for combos and that sort of thing afterwards. And then the last throw we have is his Fierce Throw, where he slams into the ground, and does good damage there as well. I prefer the other throw, just simply because of, like, the combo potential you can do from it, as well as a couple other things. But it's not a bad button. It's just outclassed by, in usefulness by the other throw, so that's just all I have to really say on that one. Yeah, while we're here, let's talk about some of King Ghidorah's unique attributes. King Ghidorah is unique in that he has more HP than everyone else. He also resists blunt attacks, so you see that Gigan's doing, like, no damage with his punches? Well, that's because I resist his blunt attacks, so... So basically, if he wants to do any reasonable damage, he has to use edge moves, which Gigan thankfully has a lot of those. But it's also something important to keep in mind if you have strong blunt moves, because King Ghidorah will resist those. Though not as well as he does in the sequel. In the sequel, he is a disgusting character. But here, not quite as well. He's a lot more reasonable on that front. Alright, let's just finish you off real quick. But yeah, tearing through King Ghidorah's HP is a bit more difficult than for most other characters. Just simply because he's resistant to blunt attacks, which is very good. The only thing that really holds him back on that front is that he's just big. He's really big and easy to hit on the ground if you can knock him down. But that's easier said than done, because this dude could just out-neutral you very hard. Also, let us not forget about the ever-venerable get-up attack. Okay, so face up. If you press X or B, you get that attack. The thing I like about Ghidorah's get-up attack from that stance is that it's a multi-hit. So it can hit multiple times. It doesn't hit multiple times here, but I've done it against Anguirus before, and it's very useful for that. Also has good range. I'm going to launch him again. Come on. There we go. Yeah, you see this distance right here? Still hits. It's definitely got good range. Now let's see the other get-up attack. Hold on. Come on, lad. There we go. This is his other get-up attack, when he's face down. It's a blunt move. It does okay damage. My biggest gripe with it is that the hitbox on it is kind of weird. It can sometimes just whiff distances that shouldn't. Also has much shorter range than his other get-up attack. They're both useful for different purposes, but I generally prefer the one where he's facing up, so that he gets his lunge forward. It's a really nice tool. Alright, and we will continue on with the rest of the video now. Now I'll talk about one of his go-to combos I like doing a lot. We have down kick into down fierce, forward punch, jump into beam. And if my timing was better, I would have actually been able to use the beam to carry the character even further across the map. So you can hit him off barrier, rebound it, and then hit him with like jump kick, jump punch, jump fierce, just kind of whatever really. He's definitely got good options there. Also hit that on OTG as well to keep your opponent off of like power-ups and that sort of thing. So even though this character is not particularly fast, oh yeah, another thing, his hops are okay, but they're not as good as someone like, say, Gigan's, which Gigan has a much better hop than King Ghidorah does. But to be fair, that's one of the few good traits Gigan has, so he should have at least something. Trying to think if there's anything else about King Ghidorah. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, because I talked about his grab. We have his roars. Two different ones he can do. If you're wondering how to do the other roar, it's fierce and kick at the same time. So, instead of punch and fierce at the same time, it's kick and fierce at the same time. Just a little heads up there. Oh, we'll use this to talk about one of his other combos he can do. That's more rage specific. As you can see, brutal damage. I also quite like his rage attack as well. You press A and X for that at the same time. I'll mention that earlier in the video. I believe that's everything covered about King Ghidorah. Overall thoughts on the character? He's top 3. Top 3 at the bare minimum. This guy is broken. He's just got good range, good damage. He's all about that zoning game, so even if you try to knock him down, he could just keep you off of him very easily. On top of having really strong combo game, the strongest beam attack in the game, the only thing he really struggles with is that he's big. Some of his moves are unsafe on block, but that's just kind of normal for every character in this game. And the fact that if you knock him down to the ground, he can be hit on OTG rather easily. Not as easily as someone like, say, Destroyer or Orga. Those two are huge, but definitely better than something like... Definitely easier to hit than Godzilla 90s or Mechagodzilla 2, for example. Those two are pretty hard to hit on the ground compared to everyone else. But King Ghidorah, he's a big lad. He's a big lad, and that can bite him in the butt sometimes. Overall, King Ghidorah, top tier character. If you pick this guy, you are definitely going to win a lot more matches using him than using someone like poor Gigan here, for example. Oh yeah, you can also launch him into the air using the punches, and then do flight beam. Because the unique thing about King Ghidorah here is that, well, it's not unique to him. Pretty much everyone can do this. It just benefits him a lot, because pretty much every single attack in this game is jump cancelable. So you can do like that, basically. Very useful for him, because transitioning to flight beam is just ridiculous, because that damage is just insane. Very good for basically half a bar of energy. That's just nuts. Anyway, that should be it for now on the tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed it. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you around in the next video. You take care now. Have a wonderful day now. Peace. Bye.